So around the time that Season 2 was about to be released, as usual, a lot of things were said about what's coming up this season. Facebook pages like Fortnite Hub were writing about what to expect, YouTubers were putting out their videos on what they could see happening, and this happens every single season. Then eventually the season comes out and we see what actually goes on. This time round, one of the big hype things was the helicopters, but we haven't actually seen them in game yet, so were all these YouTubers lying? Was my Facebook page lying? What's going on? Why have we not seen helicopters? Well, that's something that I've personally been thinking about. See, the reason why people were hyping up helicopters was because teasers were showing locations that had helipads on them. Obviously, one of these was the middle island in the map, also now known as the Agency, and to no surprise, the Agency does in fact have a helipad. In fact, there are a few helipads scattered around the map. Even though we have multiple helipads scattered around the map, there aren't any signs currently of helicopters being in the game. This had me asking myself, as a Fortnite page and YouTube channel owner, what is Fortnite trying to do here? Luminosity Gaming's Kiwis, a Fortnite YouTuber, posted a video about a day ago talking over Fortnite just leaked helicopters in Season 2. I wanted to check out what he was talking about because I couldn't see anything on Twitter, nothing on Dexerto, nothing on anything official. So anyway, I wanted to watch the video rather than discard what he was saying, and so that's what I decided to do. So Kiwis has his normal intros where he's just talking about stuff, and eventually he makes his way down to the grotto. Obviously this is a place where there is a helipad, you can see it on the screen right now, and Kiwis eventually goes on to talk about how he does expect for us to see helicopters during this season. It just might not be today. It might not even be tomorrow, in fact. It could be next week or it could be the week afterwards.
At the Agency as well. So these showed up in like all the leaks and the teasers and stuff, and people were getting excited and everybody thought that we were going to actually have these helicopters right when the season dropped. But thankfully, I'm actually kind of happy that it wasn't when the season dropped, because now we're probably going to have more content later on. I like, instead of releasing everything all at once, they kind of stretch it out throughout the entire season. And that's what makes Fortnite great, is because there's always consistently new updates.
See, what it looks like Epic is doing now, after such a long and slow season from Season 1 of Chapter 2, the feedback has been very clear, which is the game is getting boring as hell. And honestly, Fortnite's been in this situation before, albeit this time not with the same feedback, but back in Season 1, no one had any expectations from Fortnite in the first place, back in Season 1, Chapter 1. Now we've gone through our whole first 10 seasons in Chapter 1, we've had expectations lined up that honestly Fortnite hasn't met for over a month. In fact, Season 1 was the longest season that we've actually seen in a long time. So now what it looks like doing, especially based on Donald Mustard's tweet, I often think of dramatic pacing like audio volume. With some stories you work to slowly crank it loud as possible so that when you ratchet it back to 0, you feel the full impact on both extremes. Then when the new volume, i.e. the slow pacing, feels like normal, you start to dial it up again. So to me, this makes me understand that Donald Mustard, clearly the creative director, I should say, of Fortnite, clearly is with us understanding that things have been slow. I think they wanted to play with our expectations, basically. And I think now with Season 2, Chapter 2, especially with the new stuff that we're seeing with the Agency, the grotto, there's different lore and teasers and stuff like that, I honestly think that my thinking lines up with Kiwi's thinking here, where he talks about how we're essentially going to hopefully be getting new updates every week, rather than a bunch of content out of nowhere, out of surprise at once. So what Kiwis is saying makes total sense, and hopefully, and I think everyone watching this will be on the same boat here, it's a lot more fun having Fortnite do new updates weekly rather than bring everything in together, because honestly, what we need, what humans need, is a change, some variation. If we have one thing all at once, we're going to get used to it way too quickly and it's going to get boring. So essentially Fortnite has to pace it out for us. Adding to this, I would be surprised if after putting a helicopter in a Season 2 trailer, that we're not going to see it. It could happen that we don't see it, but I'd be surprised. Now, whether or not a helicopter is a good idea, that is something to be discussed. Obviously, a lot of people were very upset with planes for obvious reasons. Some players loved it, some players hated it. I found them fun in certain ways, annoying in other ways, pretty obviously why. But I do also think that just because it's a flying vehicle doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be the same as a plane. See, Epic decides the stats and how these things work, right? To me, so long as the helicopter isn't too far up, So long as it's not too easy for players in the helicopter to shoot players on the ground, so long as it's easy enough to shoot down the helicopter, so long as it doesn't have 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 health, maybe a way to stop that is to say that if a helicopter crashes with players in it, then the players get killed or take a significant amount of damage. Maybe give players parachutes or something to jump out with. I don't know, there's a few different things that they could do. That's for Epic to decide. As long as they make it balanced and interesting so that it can both do a little bit of combat, but mostly hopefully be some form of travel around the map. That's what I'd be interested in, but I'd love to hear what you think. How should helicopters work? What should their health be? Should they have 1 gun, 2 guns, 3 guns, no guns? What is your take on having helicopters in the game? Now, many very dedicated Fortnite players will know that some people who are very clever and know how to data mine, there are people out there who do that very consistently, and HypeX is one of them. HypeX is one of the most popular data miners in Fortnite, and they have recently shown a new weapon that we could be seeing in the in-game files, and that would be the proximity mine. I'm assuming that this would work the way that most proximity mines work, where essentially if something or someone moves in close proximity, it blows up. Again, like every single item in Fortnite, it needs to have the right damages and the right stats and keep it balanced. I'm thinking that either they make the damage pretty high, say 100 or 75 or 125 maybe, but limit how many you can carry to 1 or 2 maybe. Either that or make the damage pretty low, but then give players, I don't know, 5 stack or something along those lines. I'd love to know what you guys think though about how this could work. What should the damage be? What should the proximity be? Should it be 1 meter? Should it be 5 meters? Should it be 10 meters? I think 10 meters would be ridiculously OP. Should it even be 0.2 meters? Let me know. In terms of when we're going to see this, same thing with the helicopters, we don't necessarily know, but if we're to go by how Kiwis and Donald Mustard is talking, then it should be over the next few weeks. HypeX also shared a video a few days ago showing emote sounds that Lucas7Yoshi, another very popular data miner in Fortnite, has found. Lucas7Yoshi found emote sounds within the in-game files, and honestly, I'm quite confused, to be honest. So before I show you the video with the emotes, HypeX tweeted out a list with the upcoming emotes. This is what they are: Get to the Chopper, 1v1, Bow to Booga, Daying, Let Go, Too Good, OMG/Oh my gosh, It's Over, Jenkins, I Have the High Ground, Leroy, Do This. This is potentially, and I say potentially, going to make a lot more sense to you after listening to the video. Take a look.
We're into a 1v1v1v1. Bow down! Bow down to Booga! Oh my gosh. The ultimate high ground, the crowd cheering behind him.
Leroy Jenkins! Get to the chopper!
Let's do this.
So, okay. I'm not sure how they're going to do stuff like Bow Down to Booga. I mean, that would be a really interesting one. I don't know how much they're going to do stuff like that. When I say that, I mean so very personalized stuff like that. I suppose that could just be Booga's emote as Ninja has his own skin. Obviously, the Get to the Chopper line, it could have something to do with potentially having helicopters. Who knows? I honestly I have so many mixed thoughts on the different emotes in this list. One thing that strikes me is a lot of this is IRL sounds, i.e. in real life sounds. So stuff like the Daying and Leroy Jenkins. It'd be really interesting to hear those sounds as an emote in the game. Like, super interesting. I don't know how they would do it, but I'm not against seeing it. I mean, hey, I don't have to buy them in the end of the day, so we'll see. But that, my friends, would be the end of today's Fortnite Hub video. I want to say a huge thank you to those of you, who are subscribing. Really helps out a lot. We're almost on our way to 1,000 subscribers. We're at like 850 something. I also want to thank for all the views that have been coming on the page recently. Sorry, the YouTube channel. The page is good, but that's always been good. The YouTube channel, however, it's starting to wake up again. The views are starting to come in, and I appreciate you. Thirdly, and kind of most importantly to a certain extent, the creator code is being used a lot now, and I really appreciate you guys for that. We actually did our first giveaway, not the first actually, but first giveaway I should say, in about 3 or 4 days on the Facebook page. It was a lot of fun, people seemed to enjoy it. Congratulations Alex for winning. So far the creator code is actually managing to fund the giveaways that I'm doing, and as more of you enjoy and watch the YouTube videos, then we'll be doing a lot more than just giveaways. Although giveaways, that's not something to say just about. We'll be doing bigger giveaways, I should say, tournaments, etc. And finally, for the real ones who are watching this far in, I'm putting a Discord link in the description. You can definitely go check that out if you'd like to join the Discord server for Fortnite Hub. Be sure to get in there. I'm going to be doing some more pushing of that in terms of marketing later on. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great rest of your day. This has been Zaki, and I'll see you in a Fortnite game coming to you.